Hey students, it's been a pleasure to bring these videos to you from my little studio here. By the way, you probably see instruments on the wall behind me, and there's a couple of cellos over here. This is a room in which I indulge in my creative self, if you will. I do writing in here. I do music. It's a little recording studio. You can probably see one of my studio monitors here, my Bud Ran up here, which is a Irish drum. I like to mess with musical things, spoken word things, little creations, and this is sort of my little study slash studio with which I do that. Over here we have a Persian santur, which is a Persian instrument from the 16th century. It's a newly created one, and my St. George's Cross, the flag of England, proudly displayed. It's been fun to bring videos to you. We only have this week is the last week of class, and then next week is finals week, so there'll probably only be one video next week, the last video, before I distribute the final. So let me sort of go over how we're going to wrap this class up. Because so many of you are behind, and I've given you extra time, this is not a upbraid or anything like that. I've talked to many of you individually, and you needed extra time to do the paper, to do the tasks, to finish the classwork, and that's all fine. However, I can only allow extra time for so long, and then grades are going to be due. So the idea this week to compress Freud and Jung into the first video and only have one small class assignment is to give you the rest of the week to catch up. And to do that, I am going to use task 11 and 12 to give you a little bit of reward or prodding to catch up. So for task 11, you will get a full 10 points for task 11 if you catch up, let's say by Tuesday of next week, which is the beginning of the finals week. So what do you need to do to catch up? Number one, you need to complete tasks 6 through 10, which have been the tasks assigned throughout this online course portion of the class. So those of you who catch up and get 6 through 10 through me fully, and I have grades in the grade book, you will get a full grade for task 11. So task 11 is to catch up in the next week, okay? Task 12, which is the final task of your Herculean amount, is to check into all the videos so that I can count you present and not give you any absences. All right, now this is something that's mandated by the college, so I have to keep some semblance of attendance. Now most of you have been doing this and you haven't accrued any absences, but some of you haven't, and it's some of you may have just forgotten to check into a video. So sometime this week, just go through and put a comment in each of the videos if you haven't already, so that I can count you present. All right, and everyone who is fully present in all of the videos will get a full score for task 12. So again, task 11, catch up with all the tasks, all right, within the next week. Task 12, check into all the videos. You get 20 points on your task score, which will drive up your average if you may have missed a task or so. So there's a couple of freebies just to complete the work. Now, up to this point, I have just sent out videos and given you time to complete the work at your convenience, because I realize that a lot of you are dealing with many issues to do with COVID-19 or not, life issues, work issues, relative issues. It's a more stressful period. There's a lot of anxiety, as I've mentioned in the past. And some of you, things are still going on. You're working, you're moving, things like that. And I've talked to a lot of you individually about that So I have allowed you to sort of dribble in the work to me, and I dutifully go through all the videos and all of the messages and all of the announcements daily, update my grade book, and then update your grade in D2L. The final is the one exception. Now obviously we can't do the final exam like we would in the class. So it's going to be a little bit different, and I have to trust that you are just going to sit down and respond to the questions from your own consciousness, that you're not going to go and look stuff up. That's the idea anyway. This final will be maybe a series of 3 or 4 paragraph essay questions. All right, so I'm going to ask you I'm going to give you examples of text, and all the questions are going to be about the theory that we've done the last 2 weeks. So they'll be to do with Campbell, Levi-Strauss, Freud, and Jung. So if you want to study for the final, let's say a day next week, maybe just review that portion of the class. All right, so that's what the final is going to be on. It's the theoretical last 2 or 3 weeks. Now I cut some of that theory from the schedule, so you're not going to be accountable for anything that we didn't do. I think I cut out Frazier, Graves, Eliade. So it's only going to be on 4 thinkers, and mostly it's going to be Campbell, Freud, and Jung, because we didn't get that in depth with Levi-Strauss. So if you want to do some sort of study for the final, maybe review those notes or watch those videos again, or look up those thinkers and their ideas to do with mythology before the final. I've been trying to think about how to do the final, and this is the idea I've come up with. Let's say that I will send the final to you the very last day of class. So those of you who are taking the Tuesday, Thursday class, it will come to you a week on Thursday. All right, so the Thursday of finals week, I will send the final out, let's say, I don't know, noon or something like that. And then at some point in the afternoon, as soon as you can, you do the final, which should take you about an hour, and send it back to me. So let's say I send it out to you around noon, you send it back to me by 5. Will that work? Let me know if for any of you that won't work, and we'll figure something else out. So Tuesday, Thursday, your final will be sent to you around noon on Thursday, because the class is at 2:30, something like that. And then you do the final, the answers, and send them back to me by 5 p.m. If there's any issue for any of you, let me know. And then those of you who are taking just the Friday class, the same thing on Friday. It may be a bit earlier because I think our class was started in the morning. So hard to remember now, isn't it? So maybe I'll send it to you, let's say 10, and you send it back by 3 or 4, something like that. Again, this is something you'll receive. You'll read the questions, you'll write paragraph answers, and you'll send those back to me in a text file or on the actual message or announcement, any way you can. The reason why I have to time this is to sort of simulate some sort of exam procedure, but also because the turnaround the following week for grades to be submitted, I think is only about a week, and I'm still grading late work as well from some of you. So we can't have a situation with the final like the rest of the work where I'm getting the text back from you 2-3 weeks later, because then we'll be past the grade submission deadline. So the idea is to make the final a quicker turnaround, try and simulate an exam procedure. I think there are 4 questions. I supply the text on the final, and then you write paragraph. Don't write a sentence, all right? Write a paragraph response, just like you've been doing for the tasks, from your own thoughts, all right? So you don't have to research any of this or look it up. I just want you to respond as per your own understanding of these theories from these particular psychologists and mythographers. So that's the final. If there's any problem with that timeline, let me know. We'll work something else out, because I can always send it out a different day. Or those of you who can't, say in the Thursday class, who can't do the final on Thursday but could do it on Friday, I could include you in that class, and vice versa. Those of you who are taking the Friday class and you'd like to do it earlier in the week, I could include you with the Thursday class group. It'll be messy, but I'll work it out. So let me know if that'll work. What I don't want is people taking 3, 5, 6 days to send back the final. I want a quick turnaround if possible. So let me know if either of those times are an issue for you. If you work during the day, if you picked up a job since we went online, I will find a way to make that work for you. But it needs to be in that week, all right? Technically, the semester ends on I think it's Friday, or is it Monday? I'll have to check. I can't be sending out the exam a week later. So if you need it earlier in the week, that's fine. Just let me know and we'll work it out. So again, the last 3 things: catch up on all the tasks, you get a free task 11 score. Catch up on checking into all the videos with a comment, you get a free task 12 score. And then final, next week, of course you've got work to do this week. I just sent out the Freud-Jung video. Final next week is simply receiving a text document with some examples of myths and some questions, and to answer those within a couple of hours of receiving it and sending it back to me. Okay, it sounds simple enough. Hopefully we can make that work. I'll probably do one more video next week, earlier in the week, and then we'll hold the final later in the week. All right, folks, have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon.